Intro on Nate. He was elected, excuse me, at Alameda County Board of Supervisors in November of 2000, re-elected several times after, and he is currently his reputation of being the Maverick. He's going to get some more about that. From proactively working with the community and his colleagues to address some of the city's long-term standing issues around problem with liquor stores, crime, community development, and realtors hanging around at bars early in the morning. See who's paying attention. So Nate, before I go through this entire list you have here, if you could please come on up and introduce yourself, and please give a warm welcome to Mr. Nate Miley. They would rather hear from you than from me.
Thank you.
I'm going to stand through.
I'll say thanks.
Thank you. You have to about 1 minute.
Okay. All right. Yes, I'll make some remarks, then I'll kind of field some questions. Let me see here. Is Paul from my staff here? Okay, Paul's supposed to be here this morning. Okay, so it's real great to be here to speak with you this morning, and I appreciate the opportunity to come and speak to all of you once a year. I think I was up here speaking, but I believe it's been more than a year, so I do appreciate the chance to come and talk with you minimally once a year. As a county supervisor, just so you know, my district goes from Oakland, Montclair, that area, East Oakland, then I've got all the unincorporated area for the most part, and then Pleasant and all of the city of Pleasant and unincorporated Pleasant. So I've got about 330,000 constituents I represent, and I'm in three of the 4 areas of the county. So what I want to try to do is just kind of give you a sense of maybe what's going on from my perspective that you might be interested in, and then field some questions. First of all, if you're not aware, I do have an office on the fairgrounds. I share that with Supervisor Haggerty. He represents Dublin and Livermore, and I represent Pleasanton. So we have an office that we share on the fairgrounds, and there's Paul right there. Paul's on my staff. Raise your hand, Paul. Paul works with me. Paul and Eileen, Eileen's not here, she's meeting other constituents this morning. They worked with me to provide constituent services here in the Tri-Valley, and more specifically Pleasanton. So we do have an office on the fairgrounds, and I periodically hold community meetings. In fact, last night we held a community meeting. We try to do those minimally quarterly, but sometimes every other month. We usually hold them on the fairgrounds, either in my office or in the Palm Pavilion, depending on the nature of the topic of the meeting. And last night we were talking about just covering some of the things we've done in 2015 and trying to solicit concerns for 2016. And when I open up for questions, if there are concerns you have, I'd like to hear about those as well, so we can put those on our list of things we want to try to look at in 2016. So in 2015, what I think might be of interest is, we worked to try to ensure that there was ample parking and that the relationships between the county and the city and the fair relative to the ACE parking lot was addressed. It took us about, you wouldn't believe it, 2 to 3 years to get that resolved. It's amazing how long it takes things, because fair's got attorneys, the city's got attorneys, and county's got attorneys, and you get these attorneys involved, and things just drag on and on and on, and this word and that word, and I know you can relate being realtors, so every word's important. But we did get that resolved, and I think that's going to help out. And one piece of that too that we're looking at. Many of you might be familiar with Measure BB. That was a transportation measure that was approved in 2014. It's been extended, and it's going to, for transportation projects and programs, it's going to, over the course of the next 30 years, bring in about $8 billion roughly, create over 100,000 jobs. But one aspect of that is trying to bring BART to Livermore. And there's talk now of bringing BART to ACE. So there are conversations about that. I don't know if BART to ACE would replace BART to Livermore. It's a possibility that might be the case. But it seems to make more sense to have BART connecting up with ACE at Pleasanton than necessarily going to Livermore. Maybe there'd be a shuttle or extension or something like that into Livermore. But there are conversations about that, and in Measure BB we have funding, hundreds of millions of dollars of funding set aside for that. To achieve that, it's going to be over a couple of $1 billion, but the point of the matter is, I think it's important, because when you can have that connectivity between various transportation modes, you know, mass transit, and then ACE as well, those two pieces, and then making that more of a transportation hub, I think that's important for customer service, for residents, for, you know, getting commuters out of their cars, et cetera, et cetera. So there's a lot of synergy there. So there's discussions about that. Nothing has been decided around that, because to make that happen, we would have to get the support of Pleasanton, Livermore, BART, ACE, and the county. So there are a lot of players to achieve that, but that's under discussion. Another thing that we brought up yesterday at the meeting, which might be of interest, is we work to try to address issues of traffic. There's traffic congestion that interfaces with the freeway and with the communities of both the unincorporated communities and the city communities. So we've been working to try to address some of those traffic circulation issues. And it's daunting and it's challenging. So we're working with the Transportation Commission, of which I'm on. We're looking to put on, you know, hot lanes and other devices on 580 that would hopefully improve that transportation corridor and get folks out of their cars. You know, we've done some stuff on 680. We're looking to do more things to try to address the traffic situation, both the commuters and then also people, you know, coming into the communities for cut-through traffic. And, you know, we're working with the City of Pleasanton on that, Pleasanton PD, working with the Sheriff's Department, working with Highway Patrol, working with Pleasanton Public Works, working with County Public Works, working with Caltrans. And once again, a lot of, you know, moving parts to try to look at the traffic circulation, because I really do think that's a big quality of life issue. Traffic congestion, traffic circulation. You know, in our meeting last night, folks were just talking to me about how on Foothill Boulevard, maybe between 3 and 7, every weekday, Monday through Friday, it's just constant, and it's driving them crazy. So that's just an example of that. And I know on the 580 corridor, it can be congested at any time of the day. So we're trying to look at that. Also through Measure BB, we're looking at Route 84, Pigeon Pass. We have the funding to make that happen. I want to hold a meeting next year to try to bring our staff out from the Transportation Commission to talk about our timeline and our process to achieve that, you know, the widening of 84. And you know, completing that. Let me see here. Not to be remiss, I want to thank you for the work that you did, if not personally, your association and other associations throughout the 9 Bay Area County, because I'm on the Bay Area Air Quality Management District, the Air Board, and I know the Air Board, you know, our primary mission is to address air pollution. And I know that ordinance, that wood smoke ordinance, was driving you crazy. And, you know, in our efforts to try to address air pollution and be sensitive to people who have asthma and address the issues of particulate matter from wood burning, you know, there are people that want, you know, quite frankly, the Air District, and you need to know this, the Air District wants to ban all wood burning at some point down the road. It's not happening at the moment, but down the road, it might happen in our lifetime. They, you know, wants to ban all wood burning. So there's that extreme, but then there's other folks who don't want us to regulate wood burning at all. But it is a health issue. So, you know, our regulation that I believe we're going to pass and enact, because we took action on it just this past month, it, you know, will require disclosures so that when you're selling your homes, and prospective sellers or buyers, there's a disclosure about fireplaces and wood burning, and at this point of sale, we're taking out the requirement that people have to convert their fireplaces. We're not requiring that, which I felt was important not to do that, but we are trying to provide incentives so that people can change out their fireplaces and put in gas, electric. There is still the controversy on the airport whether or not we will support EPA certified wood burning stoves. I personally feel we should, but there are people, once again, who are on the airport, and these are representatives like myself from all over the Bay Area, the 9 Bay Area counties. Some are county supervisors, some are city council members, some are mayors. It's 22 of us, but there are some people who feel we shouldn't allow EPA certified stoves, wood burning stoves, because just want to eliminate all wood burning. So we're going to still debate that, because I do think we should provide incentives for people to change out their fireplaces, but they should be able to get incentive money if they want to change out to a EPA certified wood burning stove. They should be able to do that. That's my personal opinion, but that's still being discussed and debated. Because our incentive program initially is going to be about $3 million, and that's really a drop in the bucket, but we're going to start with that to see how that progresses in terms of providing resources for people to change out their fireplaces. But then with new construction, all new construction, and I think if I can recall, I don't think it kicks in immediately. It might be, I don't even want to.
We have new home builders here.
Yeah, I don't want to hazard guess at the moment, because I don't recall off the top of my head, but new construction, once our regulation becomes effective, I think there's a date when all new construction would require no fireplaces that are wood burning. You can have a fireplace, but it will have to be electric or gas. Electric or gas. It's just a question of, as I said, I don't recall when that's going to be the effective date of that. And the issue with the wood burning, the particulate matter, is it's an issue, particularly in certain parts of the Bay Area, VREN and other places, even some places out here in the Tri-Valley, where depending on the weather conditions, the particulate matter can be trapped, and it can cause problems for respiratory problems. And then we will continue a regulation that prohibits wood burning on spare the air days. And so that's kind of just a quick thing on the wood burning piece, but I do appreciate the work they've done, because I know Dave brought that to my attention and others when the Air District started looking at this matter. Let me see here. A big accomplishment that affects everyone in this room, because is there anyone in this room who doesn't have any pharmaceuticals in your medicine cabinet? There's one person. Okay, because most of us have medicine in our medicine cabinet. I'm not talking about any of you are on drugs. I'm just saying. And if you are, I don't want to know about it. But most of us have medicine in our medicine cabinet. So in 2012, the county passed an ordinance requiring that the pharmaceutical company come up with a plan so that any pharmaceuticals that are sold in Alameda County, the producers have to have a plan that properly disposes of those pharmaceuticals when people no longer want them or they expire. Because what happens is people either take their medicines and they dump it down the toilet or the drain, and that's not good. We don't want that in the waterways. Or they hoard them, just keep them in their medicine cabinet. And the problem with that is young people abuse those. Prescription drug abuse is a real big problem for law enforcement and for school systems and parents and others. Because young people do abuse them. You might have seen just recently there was a report on KTVU, Marin, how, you know, the young people just take a whole bunch of pills, put them in a bowl, call it a farm party, and they'll just, you know, take pills and see what happens. And it's really, I mean, it's dumb, but they're doing that. And it's a real big problem. So we don't want people to hoard these because of the potential abuse. And then the other thing associated with it is it could be misused. Seniors might misuse the prescription because they might not, you know, they might take the wrong one or get mixed up. And so the ordinance is important from both a public safety, a public health, and an environmental health situation. And so we passed this ordinance in 2012. We were sued by the pharmaceutical industry, you know, big pharma, and we passed the ordinance because we can't get anything through the state legislature. The pharma's got, you know, a lot of powerful lobbyists and a lot of money, and same thing at the national level. And what we're requiring of them is no more than what they do in other countries, British Columbia, European countries, and we patterned our ordinance off of that, requiring them to come up with a plan for the proper disposal of these pharmaceuticals when they're no longer wanted or they expire. So we were sued. Fast forward, it went all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court because we won in the district court, we won in the Court of Appeals. King County, Washington passed an ordinance similar to ours, but they held off on enforcing it until our lawsuit made its way through the legal process, because we're all in the Ninth Circuit. And then the U.S. Supreme Court decided that they decided not to take up the matter, but initially they wanted to have at least arguments on why they shouldn't take up the matter. And there was, you know, arguments held, they were briefed. Our attorneys, one reason we were so successful is, yeah, I think I can probably say this. Pharma stipulated, as they should have, that the disposal of pharmaceuticals is a public health and environmental issue. So, but the way they want to dispose of them is they want people just to take them, wrap them in coffee grounds, for instance, and put them in their trash can. They feel that's a proper disposal technique. So we didn't agree to that, but they at least stipulated that they are a health issue. So because of that, that stipulation, when it got to the Supreme Court and it was briefed, we basically won. So our ordinance is the law of the land throughout the United States. Other counties in California are passing similar ordinances. Other counties throughout the country are passing similar ordinances. Just because we won this landmark decision. It was the first of its kind in the country. We anticipate that pharma might decide to challenge it in some other circuit, some other district, like a more conservative district than the Ninth Circuit here on the West Coast, and try to see if they get another ruling that's contrary to ours, and then the Supreme Court could take up the matter. But at this point, our ordinance is everyone's pattern their actions on our ordinance. And in some cases, counties are taking it a little further, which is a good thing. They're actually lumping pharmaceuticals in with sharps. You know, sharps is a real big problem, the disposal of needles. It's a major health issue for the workers, and it can be an issue. You know, sharps, find them in playgrounds and other places, beaches, etc. Needles are a big problem. So counties are also lumping pharmaceuticals with needles in terms of coming up with requiring the manufacturers to come up with proper ways of disposing of them. And the final thing on that, this isn't very expensive. It's not very expensive. For pharma with their medications, it's literally pennies. So, and we're not saying they can't build the cost of disposal into the chain, the manufacturing chain, the use chain. They can. We just saying put it in the cost of disposal. Put those 2 or 3 or 5 cents per medication. Put that in at the front of the chain when it's manufactured, and have that cost already built in so that it can be disposed of properly. So this is huge. It's all about extended producer responsibility, because there's a lot of products out here that if we don't have the manufacturers take on the responsibility of making sure they're disposed of, it can be a major problem for all of us as consumers and taxpayers and quality of life. And that goes, because if our ordinance had lost in the Supreme Court, it could have affected, you know, right now, oil, batteries, for instance, are disposed of this way. It could have affected that as well. And mattresses, we're trying to get mattresses disposed of this way as well. So it could have had a rippling effect on any type of extended producer responsibility. But because our ordinance passed, it really buttresses all of that, as well as we can look at other products like sharps, for instance. So this is huge, and I don't think it's unfair to build it in once again into the chain. Just build it in up front, because these products, we all use them, we all need them, but once we don't need them, so we aren't using them, I don't want to see them out in the environment. I don't. I want them to be disposed of, and I want the manufacturers to have that responsibility, not the taxpayers. And that's what this is all about. Okay. And thank you for that applause, because I was the one who led the effort to get the county to pass the ordinance. It only cost us about $1 million to defend, but it was worth it. All right, so let me just, open up for questions. I only got about 5 minutes. Yes?
Yeah. Supervisor Miley, thank you for being here. I also want to extend our gratitude for Supervisor Haggerty and yourself for our support on the supporting the wood burning on the district that you're on. But on another issue that came up in our local government relations forum discussion last week, and it's very opportune that you're here. Alameda County supports several hospitals in the area. St. Rose being one, another county hospital over in, I think it's in Castro Valley, notwithstanding Highland, which has different kinds of funding. But those hospitals, as I understand, can be, they need funding. They're being really stressed by funding, and there's been some moves to do parcel taxes to support those county hospitals. So one, if there was a parcel tax, would it just be from the unincorporated areas, or would the parcel tax go all over Alameda County? And do you think that parcel tax is the proper way to fund that?
Well, no, I don't think parcel taxes is a proper way of funding it, because we already have a tax in place. In fact, that I don't know if you set me up for this, but we passed a tax in 2004, which I spearheaded, and we had it reauthorized in 2012. And what it is, it's the Measure A, Essential Healthcare Services tax, and it's a sales tax. It's like Measure B for transportation. It's a half-cent sales tax. Now, Measure B is a full penny, but this is a half-cent, and it raises about $100 million a year for essential healthcare services. Most of that goes to the Alameda Health System, which includes Highland, but $25 million comes directly to the county to be dispersed to our clinics and other essential health services. So we already have a tax in place, and we're not going to pass a partial tax for that, or we're not even trying to put on anything like that on the ballot. And we're one of the few counties in the state that have such a tax of that nature, which is a good thing. We are very much concerned about trying to make sure we have health services here in the Tri-Valley. In fact, we were talking to Sue, from ACS just yesterday. She was at our meeting talking about the need for dental here in the Tri-Valley. There's no facility for dental, but there's facilities in other parts of the county. So we're working with Sue on that. The county provided over $1 million to help with the capital expansion of ACS, their facility. So we are definitely on that. Paul's working with me on that. Eileen from my office is working with me on that. We're working with Valley Care. So we're and Supervisor Haggerty's office. So we're trying to make sure we get more resources out here for health services, and also any other types of safety net services as well.
Hi, I heard what you were saying in terms of that you've been working to get a plan in place to dispose of the medications because of all the problems, but I missed what we're supposed to do with what was the resolution of that? I mean, how are we supposed to now, are we required to dispose of them if we're not putting them down the toilet or in coffee grounds?
Yeah. Fortunately, here in the Tri-Valley, Pleasant PD has Paul worked with them, and Pleasant PD allows for people to bring their pharmaceuticals there and dispose of them, and Pleasant PD will have a hauler take care of them. With the pharmaceutical plan, once we, through our environmental health department, can get a plan in place with the pharmaceutical industry, and right now there's a couple hundred manufacturers of pharmaceuticals in Alameda County with their products that are coming together with a plan. We hope that there'll be a number of sites throughout the county, because with the regulations that the federal government imposed, and this all happened recently too, retailers, pharmacies can now be venues for you to take your pharmaceuticals to and dispose of them. It's a voluntary thing, so a pharmacy doesn't have to have a disposal there, but they can. So we're hoping that the plan would also encompass pharmacies as part of that plan, so people can take their pharmaceuticals back to their pharmacy, and then the pharmacy would dispose of them as well. So we're looking at what kind of plan we can get from the industry that we feel acceptable, and then once that's approved, move ahead with that. And I'm hoping we have an approved plan sometime by the end of this fiscal year, June of 2016. It's taken a while, and I'm very frustrated about that, but we're trying to make progress on that, because the whole point is we want to have convenient locations and proper locations for people to dispose of them. And right now in the Tri-Valley, I think the only location we have, because we work with Mothers with a Purpose too, is Pleasant PD.
In the lobby.
So in the lobby of the Pleasant Police Department.
And it's 24 hours a day.
Oh, good, great. But that's not, once again, it's not very convenient. It's good that it's 24 hours a day, but depending on where you live, you've got to go to Pleasant PD and take them there. Another question.
About the BART, do they have plans to go into the Central Valley at all, like Mountain House, Tracy's, Stockton, or is it going to stop in Livermore?
It would stop in Livermore, because I think we would just be duplicating service with ACE if we were to go into the Tri-Valley. Excuse me, if we were to go into the valley, the San Joaquin Valley. I don't think we would do that. And then if we were to do that, we would have to have the taxpayers in San Joaquin County, just like in Santa Clara County, because we're extending BART to Santa Clara County, they'd have to pass a measure in support of that and come up with the resources to make that happen.
I have a question. So now that you've redone that whole entire freeway, where is BART going to go?
Well, initially it was supposed to go down the middle, initially, so I'm not an engineer, I can't answer that. But that's what it was supposed to do initially. I thought go down the middle. And I don't know how engineers do what they do, but they do what they do. So maybe if it goes to ACE, it'll come down the freeway and then maybe cut over. I don't know. I really don't know how they're going to make that
That
happen.
would be kind of silly. You spend all that money.
Well, it wouldn't be the first time.
Tear it all up.
It wouldn't be the first time the government's done something that's silly.
Supervisor Miley, thank you for being here today. And I know last time you were here, you discussed the sports team situation.
Oh, yeah.
And it was a touchy subject. I know that the City of San Jose has lost their case in trying to force the A's to develop a big A's fan.
Okay.
Has something changed since you were last here in the sense, has Alameda now delegated to Oakland the negotiation responsibility with the A's? And do you see this as an opportunity to maybe get something done with the A's to keep them in Alameda County?
So I knew somebody asked me about the sports stuff. So yeah, I'm on the Joint Powers Authority that oversees the Coliseum and the arena and deals with our sports tenants. So since I was here, what the county did is we agreed to be part of the exclusive negotiation agreement with the City of Oakland. Which we did that only because we wanted to see if there was any strong financials from new city development to bring about a stadium. Because unless we're part of the negotiation, then we couldn't see the financials. And secondly, we did it because the mayor of Oakland, the new mayor of Oakland, Libby Schaaf, wanted us to. quite frankly, it was a waste of time. It did, you know, September, we terminated that exclusive negotiating agreement, the city and the county, with New City Development. And we are basically back where we were, I'd say, 18 months ago. I think the mayor of Oakland made a strategic mistake in supporting moving ahead with the E&A, because it was the former mayor, Mayor Jean Kwan, that kind of moved us down that track, and then the new mayor said, let's continue that. I think if we had not entered that E&A, we'd be further along. Because the NFL all along was saying, negotiate directly with the Raiders on a stadium deal. The NFL is not interested in a land development deal, you know, retail, housing, and all this other stuff. All they're interested in is a new stadium for the Raiders. That's all they want to see happen. And we've wasted a lot of time not negotiating directly on a new stadium. Okay, so that's one thing. So that's where we are now. And I think if you've looked at the news, heard in the news, you know, the mayor's going back to New York shortly and making another pitch to the NFL. I'm not sure what the details are. I'm not sure if she's going to be successful, but we're still, you know, we're still there. We're still in the game. And then with the E&A, it was a waste of time because the A's all along said they want to control their own destiny. They never wanted to be privy to any E&A because part of E&A said the developer would have to bring one of the sports teams to the table. So it was always concentrating on the Raiders and not the A's, because the A's made it clear, we don't want to be any part of this. And so that was another waste of time. And quite frankly, I'm hoping that the A's, because while we were in this E&A, the A's kind of sat out on the sideline, and then the Raiders basically observed as well, and we didn't achieve much. So now that we're out of it, we can work with both teams directly. We could have done that during the E&A, but the teams decided they would just wait and see. My hope is that the A's submit a proposal to us on a stadium. Both teams need their own stadium, but I'm hoping the A's submit a proposal because, quite frankly, Lou Wolf's the developer, the Fisher family who owns a Gap, I mean, they've got the money, and they've told us they can self-finance their own stadium. That's what I need them to do. And I really think we could have been there by now had we not been working on this E&A or through this E&A with Floyd Kephart, New City Development. So my hope is that either we get a proposal from the A's and or we were able to work out something with the Raiders and the NFL. And Major League Baseball, by the way, told us at least a couple of years ago when Manfred, you know, he became the commissioner recently, but before he became the commissioner, he said, you know, I was in a meeting with him, he said they want the A's to stay in Oakland. And to me, that was huge that Major League Baseball say that. That was huge. And that's why I think maybe for the last 2 years, I've been on like a rampage, but I haven't been successful in making it happen. Let's get a proposal, let's get a deal worked out with the A's, because they want to be here. And losing the lawsuit only, you know, for San Jose, only, I think, buttressed our position. Yeah. With the Warriors, you know, the Warriors, you know, once again, these teams, the owners own these. It's their business. It's their product. The Warriors are taking their team to San Francisco. They're making a lot of money in Oakland. They are a success. You know, they are the champions. They're beating everybody now. It's unfortunate they want to leave, but I've had enough. When I was on the Oakland City Council, you know, we fought to keep the teams here. I've had enough trying to fight these sports teams. If they want to leave, they can leave. It's their business. Take it where you want to take it. So the Warriors are taking their team across the bridge. They're building a new stadium on their own dime. If they decide not to, then we stay here. I mean, we're keeping an open door to keeping them here. But it's all about, for the Warriors, it's not about the money, because they're making the money. It's about the marquee, the glamour, the glow of San Francisco as compared to a working class city like Oakland. It's like Manhattan and Newark. If you have a choice, where are you going to be in Manhattan or Newark? So the Warriors want to be in Manhattan.
One last question.
Coming back to the BART question, Why did you not guys decide to go up to Tracy? Because that's where, you know, when we look at the men force who can't afford the Silicon Valley, they are moving all the way to Tracy, and that would have made more sense rather than Livermore, because I hardly see people moving from Silicon Valley to Livermore, but you know, they're going to Pleasanton, Dublin, San Ramon, and all the way to Tracy Mountain House.
Yeah, with BART, and the people of Tri-Valley have waited a long time for BART to come out here because and it's been paying into the system since its creation. So the counties, San Francisco, Alameda, Contra Costa, those are the counties that have all been paying into the BART system, if my recollection is correct. So for us to extend to Tracy, which is in San Joaquin County, we would need to get San Joaquin County's electorate, the voters, the taxpayers, to agree that they're going to tax themselves to bring BART into San Joaquin County. We did that recently over the last 4 or 5 years or so with Santa Clara County. The residents, the voters in Santa Clara County passed a measure to raise money to bring BART to San Jose. And so that's, you know, Warm Springs, it's underway. But we can't spend the taxpayers' money outside of the jurisdiction where the money's coming from. We would need those other jurisdictions to pony up. And then, you know, it's so expensive to build these transportation infrastructure. You know, we're talking billions of dollars. So even with a tax measure, it doesn't raise enough money, but it helps you to, it shows a commitment that you want this to happen. Then we're able to leverage additional resources from the federal government and the state government to try to make it happen. But we need to have that initial indication of commitment. And from San Joaquin County, that hasn't been forthcoming. Thank you.